So now that we talked about why you want to come to New Zealand, we should probably talk about the how. As you might know, New Zealand is an island, or two islands basically. So driving here, not recommended. Now I know there are some crazy ass options out there like getting here on a cargo ship or sailing here yourself. I mean, that's fine, whatever floats your boat, but I just wouldn't recommend it. So your best bet would be to jump on the next plane and fly over here. There are two major airlines in New Zealand, which are Air New Zealand and Qantas. But there are heaps of smaller ones, and I've heard good things about Emirates, for example, but it doesn't really matter which airline you take, so I just shop for the cheapest one. Now with the flights, keep in mind that the prices usually depend on the season. So if you come here in December, January, which is where they have the summer holidays, it's gonna be like twice as expensive as an off-season. Like if you arrive in March, you can get a ticket for almost really half the price. And the weather's still pretty amazing, like from, let's say, October, November to like April, beginning of May. So if you want to travel in awesome weather and not have the place be completely overrun by tourists, March and April are pretty much safe bets on doing that. When you're coming here from the USFA, it's a pretty easy decision. You probably fly into LAX and then straight down here. Now if you're from Europe, it's a different story, because New Zealand is like half a world away from where I'm from, so I could decide if I want to fly across Asia or America, so which way around the world I wanted to go. Again, it doesn't really matter, because it's gonna be a longest flight anyways. Expect to fly for like 30 hours, but I read that the way you fly through the time zones influences your jet lag. So I think flying west into the future basically is gonna reduce your jet lag, and flying over Asia probably hits you worse. And I've talked to a few people and that seems to be true, because I didn't have any jet lag, and people flying over Dubai, for example, they're just exhausted for like a week or so. I'm pretty sure that all flights going to New Zealand from the States go through LAX, so you'll probably end up there anyways. If you go that way, you need to have a visa for America, even if it's just for like 2 hours, and I did never leave the airport, and I had to have a visa for just that, which I didn't know until I showed up in London and want to check in again. The application for that is quite straightforward and pretty easy, pretty simple. It all goes through the Electronic System for Travel Authorization website. I put a link down in the description, and you can just go there, and it's like a 10-minute process really, so pretty easy to get. You should probably read about that and basically apply for it and get it all done before you enter your first plane. The major arrival point for travelers to New Zealand is Auckland, where the big international airport is. But you also have the option of arriving in Christchurch, which is on the South Island. Depending on how much time you have and where you want to travel, you should probably start in Christchurch straight away. Keep in mind that depending on where you're from, you'll probably need a visa to enter New Zealand. Now there are different options for the visas. There's the pure visitor's visa, there's a working holiday visa, the working holiday scheme, which is usually referred to as work and travel, and there is the work visa. Now the working holiday scheme, which I'm on, is pretty easy to obtain. They basically hand them out like condoms at the World Youth Day. All you need to do for your application is promise that you're not pregnant, you don't have HIV, you don't intend to kill anyone, you don't want to prostitute yourself, just the basic stuff like that. Then it takes like 2 days for them to check your application and approve it, and you're ready to go. Now getting a permanent work visa down here is a tiny bit more complicated, because you already need to have a job, and it just involves your future employer who needs to put down that you are required for that job and only you can do that, and so you really need that visa. Immigration New Zealand has all the information about that you need. There's a link to that down there as well. They pretty much guide you through the entire process and tell you what you need to apply for, what you need to look out for, and it's best if you just check that out. And that should get you down here. In the next video I'll talk about some of the options on getting from A to B while you're down here. So I'll talk about some of the public transportation options, and about renting a car versus buying a car, which for long-term travel is probably the safer bet. But we'll see about that next week. Questions, go down in the comments, or as always on Twitter, at @DomAndLife, or just send a tweet with the hashtag NZ101, and I'll include it in the next videos. Sorry for this video being just a tiny bit rushed, I didn't have enough time today, and I went for a surprise helicopter ride today, and the vlog of that is right here. So if you want to check that out, that would be awesome. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.